If you aren't drinking Baja Blast, this episode might be too extreme for you, soda cuck.
Bog Panda.
You'd love these. Come on. You'd love it.
Yeah. You keep using that word. I do not think you know what it means.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bog Panda. I am Dr. Mike at Official Pagan on everything, and joining us as always.
Hi, everybody. This is Kelly at KELLYTHUL on Twitter and Instagram.
Tonight, we are going to talk about something very special that we've never touched on before, Doom. Now, Kelly, have you heard of this game, Doom?
I think I have, and I think we're going to still get the dang noise too. Oh boy. Okay. I think I have. I think I might have heard of it. And we're also going to throw in a splash of Amiga, another new concept that we've hardly ever touched on this channel. So this is like new territory for us.
Absolutely. Well, I think what's important too is, in case anyone doesn't know, this Doom game has been ported to a few different systems.
Yeah, to some systems fairly successfully, to other systems not so much.
And sometimes the thermostats and rotary phones. But before we could even get there, it was ported to one of the most important systems of all time, the 32X. Now, a lot has been said, mostly negative, about this 32X port, but I will say it's aged extremely well. While the 32X port does have some issues, specifically it's missing some levels because they rushed it out to get it out in time for a holiday season, which is unfortunate. There are fan patches that correct that. The sound quality of it is poor, but otherwise it performs really well. It has a steady frame rate, everything looks good, all the visual elements are there. People still were unhappy with the port until they started seeing it get ported to other platforms. 32X port just started looking better and better after that. One of the first platforms it made its way to was the Super Nintendo, which a lot of people thought at first couldn't happen, but Super Nintendo did offer the Super FX chip as an add-on chip to their cartridges, which this utilized, as well as their ability to scale and rotate built into the hardware. So essentially similar to their racing games, the idea was that they could have a flat image, and by scaling and rotating the background, they could kind of create the 3D corridor look that Doom had on a 16-bit cartridge. It's rough, and the video that I sent you, that's how they started. They're interviewing one of the people who helped make this happen, because again, regardless of whatever you think of the outcome of the port, it was technically impressive for the time because you were looking at something that really shouldn't be able to happen on the hardware that you were using. It's not great, but it shouldn't run at all on that hardware. So that it was kind of a technically impressive feat. I remember, sorry, revisiting it recently on the Super Console X, something else we've never mentioned on this show before, but revisiting it recently on the Super Console X, and initially thinking like I had a bad ROM of it because it had been so long since I'd played it. But no, that's the way the game was. I looked up other footage of it, and that's it. That's how the game played. It's not great, again, but it is interesting. And the video that I had sent to you that I'd come across brings up a few interesting points, specifically that in order to make this happen, they had to utilize the Amiga. Now, you're our go-to Amiga guy, so what were your thoughts on this when I sent this to you?
That I got immediately out of my depth when he began to explain what he did. What I have figured out now, though, is that a lot of your content recommendations are built so you can go fanboy on the 32X. So it's like your excuse.
What
Is building how can I fanboy more on that? So I see through your plan there. But yeah, it was cool. And the Amiga, it's such a shame that it didn't stick, didn't do a little bit better, because whether it was early video editing or Disney World using it for their Indiana Jones stunt spectacular, I know because I was down seeing Workbench screens down there one time when a few years back when they were there. So it was used in a lot of different places. And this made sense. I had, when I had played with the Amiga, I had done some stuff with Amiga Rex, Amiga DOS, some general game building software as well, very, very basic stuff. And it's just a super flexible platform and a fun thing to do. But this gentleman, Randy Linden, who at that time was working for Sculptured Software, who gave us Mortal Kombat. Another thing we never have talked about on this channel. Just all this new territory today, folks. Hope you're enjoying it.
Breaking new ground left and right.
Yep, it's crazy times. But he was stepping through his process. So I was super fired up to hear the Amiga played a role in it. He began to explain how it fit in, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of sort of getting it. And okay, I know what an EEPROM is, and I get that he's booting over to there, and that he had to build kind of a dev platform with a assembler and a linker and stuff. And so I was like, okay, I kind of get some of that. But the whole, yeah, and then I was communicating back through the joystick ports is where they started to lose me. But ultimately, it kind of came up in the video. Those are, you can kind of view them like a serial port on a computer. So I shouldn't have been that confused by it, but it was just, oh, the joystick port, that's how you got back into the system. But I thought it was pretty amazing. And it was neat to have him step through some of his thought process and what they do, at least at a high level for the parts I could grasp, on how does he, how did he go about doing this? And he talked about breaking the screen up into 5/3, which struck me as an interesting number to begin with. But then he kind of explained how there was a first third, a second third, a third, and then kind of two additional ones in memory that would swap up to the top two positions, and you kind of always reuse that bottom third to just kind of keep it going. And so just really neat programmer tricks and cleverness, and it was great to see an Amiga mention as well.
Yeah, it was really cool for the Amiga tie-in, especially because through Kelly, I've become more of an Amiga guy. I was really completely unfamiliar, other than pretty much name only familiarity with the platform. And I remember as a kid coming across a couple of games, getting excited about them in stores like Comp USA, for anybody who remembers those, going to pick up some games for the PC, getting excited and finding out it was an Amiga title. When I realized that, I had to put it back. That happened specifically. That was rough with Nightbreed. That was a
Oh,
game I got really excited about and was Amiga only for whatever reason.
yeah, and that was one of my favorite things about the Amiga was the game titles that came to it, and Flashback, super fun, all kinds of good games. I'm still ultimately, and I haven't found a really good recreation, even an Amiga one that works to my level of satisfaction. The Indianapolis 500 game for the Amiga was magic, and I've got to find a legal ROM for me to fully play and re-enjoy that, because I have all the songs. I got the little the copy protection where they kind of say which car was this that won, what year did this car win. I've got all the stuff because I bought the software, but I've got to get it running again, because that was great, because you could basically play in a mode where your card was indestructible, but everybody's other's car was destructible, and you would run a real-time full Indianapolis 500. And what you wanted to do is be about in the middle of the pack for the start, and then just start wiping cars out left and right, thin the field down till it's just you and a couple others, and then eventually you just clip everybody out. You win the Indianapolis 500.
The one that I'm looking for to finally get on Amiga would be the Batman '89, the movie adaptation. I really enjoyed the DOS version of it for PC, so I'm looking forward to trying out the Amiga one, which from the videos I've seen is very similar gameplay wise, but has a few extra things in there. But yeah, so once again, Doom, Amiga tied together, great stuff. Go play the 32X. And I think that's everything for this episode.
Thanks for watching, folks.
Thanks, everybody.